Hey folks, this is Kalani. The first day of BlizzConline gave us a quick look at the major content coming our way with patch 9.1, the first major patch of the Shadowlands expansion. As you might expect with a big content drop, we have lots to look forward to, a new raid, a new dungeon, a whole new zone, and plenty of rewards to collect along the way. Let's break down what we know will be coming in patch 9.1 and what we think of this patch so far. It looks like patch 9.1 is going to kick off with two major events. Number one, Anduin has been enslaved by the Jailer's magic new armor and attacks the Archon, stealing her key. This key is returned to the Jailer, who says only 3 remain. With 4 Covenants and 4 keys to collect, you'd expect the other 3 missing keys to come from Ardenweald, Revendreth and Maldraxxus, and they might at the end of the day, but the Jailer is looking somewhere else for a key. It might be one of these missing keys, or it might be something else entirely. Whatever it is, it's going to be important. Important enough for the Jailer to drag an entire lost zone into his domain, into the Maw. This is the other major event which provides us with a step forward in the story and a new zone to explore in patch 9.1. The new zone is called Korthia and is supposedly a long-lost area of the Shadowlands. We will find several mysteries relating to the first ones, and it will be filled with the attendants and protectors that we've only seen in Oribos thus far. We might find a few answers about how the Shadowlands works in this zone, assuming the Jailer doesn't find everything he wants first. This zone will also be attached to the Maw zone seamlessly, so you can kind of think of this like the Maw got a big upgrade and a huge new area popped up to explore that is significantly different from the other areas of the Maw. If spending more time in the Maw sounds like an absolutely awful experience, you don't have to worry. The entire Maw zone is getting a pretty big revamp in patch 9.1 as well, to make it a lot safer to roam around and less restrictive. The newly empowered Covenants will come together in the Maw to provide areas of protection. We're fighting back, so we will finally establish a foothold in this treacherous domain. One of the big changes that comes with this new freedom in the Maw is mounts. We will finally actually be able to mount our own mounts in the Maw in 9.1, so you can call all of your favorite mounts to your side once again, and you won't have to worry about farming for one of the very specific Maw-only mounts when this patch arrives. The Eye of the Jailer debuff will also become less of a burden and less of a problem as we learn more about the Eye itself and how to combat its gaze. The devs said we might even be able to clear the Eye of the Jailer debuff sometimes, so we might be able to completely do away with the daily restrictions of the Maw zone. There will, of course, also be new areas to explore in the Maw, new enemies to defeat, and new rewards to collect along the way, including some new mounts. This hand mount on the left is probably the most exciting new reward I've seen in a long time. Who doesn't want to ride around on top of a giant crawling hand? Why have we not had this kind of mount before? That's absolutely amazing. Patch 9.1 will also bring a few updates in for Torghast, the Tower of the Damned. I'll be very interested to see the progression of Torghast through major patches and how the dev team addresses future legendary upgrades, but for now, we know that we'll see new wings of Torghast with new floor plans and layouts that we haven't been able to explore yet, as well as new enemies, new traps, new ways to die, and of course, new anima powers to play around with. Another huge change coming in patch 9.1 is the ability to fly. Flying has been reintroduced in the last few expansions in the form of an achievement called Pathfinder, which required you to explore zones, complete quests, and of course, grind reputation. For the Shadowlands, we'll have to do almost none of that. Flying will be unlocked by progressing in the new Covenant campaign chapters in 9.1, so as long as you keep up with renown levels and complete new campaign story quests as they become available, flying should be unlocked without any extra effort whatsoever. As an extra bonus, when you unlock flying, you'll also get a special Covenant-themed mount just for you to use. The KYRIANs will be able to recover the long-lost schematics for these awesome flying constructs. How awesome do these mounts look? They fit perfectly with the other KYRIAN mounts for sure. The Night Fae Covenant will get these fox, wolf, serpent things to fly around on. They kind of remind me of Haku from Spirited Away. Cloud serpents were always one of my favorite mount styles, so I'm interested to see how these will look look in-game. The NECROLORDs get to ride around on poop flies, which, I mean, I'm not here to judge or anything, and if you want to ride around on a giant fly, you do you, man, but I'm going to avoid these things at all costs. Last but not least, the Venthyr will be able to anima charge some of their stone gargoyles and ride them around as a flying mount. These ones actually look super cool, and of course they fit the Covenant perfectly. That's not the only new Covenant-themed rewards coming in patch 9.1 though. We have an entire new armor set for each Covenant that can be used for any class or armor type, and these sets come in 4 colors to collect to really show off your Covenant pride. You can definitely tell which set belongs to which Covenant just by looking at them, which I guess is the whole point, right? And being able to collect more sets is always going to be a good thing, so we can mix and match the best parts of everything to create our own amazing sets of Transmog. Most of these sets seem to be less intricate when compared to the first round of Covenant armor sets, which I think is actually kind of cool. Some of the sets don't look super amazing on their own, but I think the various pieces of each set could be mixed and matched to create some really cool Transmogs. Patch 9.1 will also introduce our second raid, the Sanctum of Domination. This is actually the Maw raid that many of us thought would be the last raid of the expansion due to the Jailer apparently being the last boss, but nope, we're raiding the Maw in patch 9.1. This will be another 10 boss raid, which I am definitely a fan of. 10 bosses is a good number in my opinion, and we also know the names of a few of the bosses we will face in this Tower of Torment. We'll face off against the Tarragru and punish him severely for all the Torghast runs he has ended. We'll trample over the Eye of the Jailer to get revenge on that pesky debuff. Kel'Thuzad will be making a return as yet another raid boss, because why not? And Sylvanas will apparently be the final encounter in this new raid. We're not too sure how that's going to end, but the devs did say the finale of this raid will change the Shadowlands forever. Will Sylvanas be redeemed? Will we finally put the Banshee Queen to rest? Or will something else unexpected potentially happen right as we're about to strike her down? Only time will tell. The devs also made a big deal about the Jailer's personal torment chamber, which sounds a little bit too personal to me. I'm not too sure I want to know what the Jailer does in his free time, thank you, but they kept hinting towards this place being quite special for very special souls, and they wonder who could possibly turn up here. Who would be in the Jailer's private collection? So obviously it's going to be someone important. I know a lot of people immediately jumped to Arthas, and this is where we might finally find Arthas, but again, only time will tell. It's not just a new raid to look forward to though. Patch 9.1 will also bring yet another Megadungeon into the game. The last few have been incredibly successful, so it's no surprise that the dev team wants to continue the trend. If you aren't sure what a Megadungeon is, think of it like a mini raid, except you can only take 5 players. This is another 8-boss massive dungeon for us to explore, and this time we'll be delving into a broker trading city. A broker-themed dungeon sounds amazing, and I'm sure it'll be full of quirky little gizmos and gadgets and all sorts of tomfoolery, like an infinite dragon wearing a pirate hat. Because why not? This mega dungeon will start off as mythic only to begin with, which shouldn't surprise anyone at this point, and will likely be split into 2 halves later for mythic plus as well as a heroic mode. Having a new raid also means we're headed into Season 2 of the Shadowlands expansion. With that comes an item level increase across the board, a new Mythic Plus affix to replace Prideful, and some new rewards for seasonal achievements. There's going to be a new recolor for the Gladiator and Keystone Master mounts. Recolors are kind of lame when compared to actual mounts in my opinion, but I guess it's better than nothing, and there will be a new Vicious mount. This time we've slapped some Alliance and Horde armor onto a Gorm to ride around on, which actually looks really cool, way better than I thought it would have at any rate. There are also some smaller pieces of news that aren't entirely related to 9.1, but are super cool nonetheless. First up, a new round of charity pets have been unveiled for Doctors Without Borders, but they're going to work a bit differently this time. Instead of being a fixed dollar cost on the store with proceeds going to the designated charity, now you will be able to contribute however much you want. There will be a fundraiser goal for this charity drive, and when that goal is met, every World of Warcraft player will receive the charity pet, regardless of how much you contribute contributed or whether you contributed at all. So we're all working together to help out a great cause and unlock a pet for everyone in game. The first pet available is Bananas, who used to be available via the old trading card game and was apparently quite rare, so this is a great chance to get your hands on a previously incredibly rare pet. There will also be a stretch goal for the event if the initial goal is met, and if that stretch goal is also met, a second pet will be given to everyone that is a little more unique. Daisy the Sloth. Not only do we get a cute little sloth pet, but they also ride around on your back holding onto your neck like a little cloak. How cute is that? Details about this event haven't been made available yet, so keep an eye out for them. And the other update was a look at how the Wandering Ancient mount is shaping up. If you already forgot, this was the winning vote from the big vote for whatever mount you want us to make poll, and it's shaping up quite nicely. You get to ride around on a huge Ancient. What's not to love? This mount will also change colours with the seasons, so it'll get a neato makeover every quarter of the year. Still no solid details on when this mount will be available, so we'll slap a good old soon TM on this one. Now, one question left completely unanswered right now is, when can we expect this patch to go live? Sadly, I think we will be waiting on this one for quite a while for a few reasons. First, patch 9.0.5 hasn't even left the public test realm yet, so that patch will have to make it onto live servers before patch 9.1 can even really be talked about. We know 9.05 should go live sometime in March, so hopefully 9.1 won't be too long after that. But the second problem that this patch might run into is just how vague a lot of the reveals are. We know there's a new zone, but we didn't get any footage of it. We know there's a new raid, and we have a couple of names of some of the bosses, but that's really all we have. It's the same with practically everything we know about patch 9.1. We can see the bones of the patch, the overall outer structure, but we have very little in the way of details. We don't have the meat of this patch yet. Some of the patch is still in the idea phase of development too. When talking about the potential new conduits and soulbinds for 9.1, it sounds like they don't have a solid plan for what to really do, which is perfectly fine. Not everything will be finished at this point, but it does make me question how long it will be until patch 9.1 is a finished product and is pushed to live servers. If we don't see the PTR updated shortly after patch 9.05 goes live, I would expect us to wait several months before we get to explore any of this new content. But that's it for the BlizzConline Day 1 recap and everything we know about patch 9.1. What are you most looking forward to in 9.1 from what you've seen so far? Is there anything you were expecting to be announced at BlizzConline that seemed to be missing? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to pop by our live stream sometime over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We always love chatting with you wonderful folks, and watching the stream and come to say hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel right now. And if you ever wanted to be included in the long list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You get a free sub to any Twitch channel if you have Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who's subscribed on Twitch already and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.